which is surprising. From images of clear water, of canals like in Venice, in Italy, to NASA satellite images of the nitrogen dioxide emissions over China. It's quite interesting to see that the world is recovering. China in particular, they compared the images between the type of restrictions compared to the same time of past year. They have noticed 25% drop down of the emissions. And for the wildlife also, we started seeing in the media reports where animals are roaming in cities while humans are in confinement, which is a contrast, which is now another message from nature. Looking back at the celebrated World Environment Day in Stockholm in 1974, the first commemoration of that in that day, 48 years later, we look at the climate, we look at the environment. What did we progress? It gets worse and worse. However, this year, the commemoration comes in a very different circumstances, showing that all the trends that we have seen increasing all over the past years, out of sudden, in few months, it dropped down. It's a strong evidence that caring about environment is a collective action of all governments and people. Celebrating the biodiversity is a theme that is very timely and calls upon action from all to appreciate the nature and what the nature provides and how much it matters for our healthy continuity and the generations to come. Honorable Minister, distinguished guests, allow me to present two key messages in this event. First, human action matters. Biodiversity is a source of living for many households and offers a wealth of ecosystem services such as food and water. And a lot of illegal consumption, a lot of illegal practices we witness that impact the natural resources and cause a lot of degradation. We might also run the risk after the COVID-19 period, where we expect more people to be trapped in poverty. There might be more practices, more harmful practices coming, and we might not be able to reserve the gains of this period on environment. Therefore, COVID-19 is not only a health issue, it's also an economic, environmental issue. As much as we respond with health measures, we need to respond also with environmental measures. The second message I would like to raise is in relation to environmental financing. Depending on government financing alone is not enough, and it is very costly to meet the financial needs to conserve and to protect the environment. This calls for a broader financing landscape for innovation to mobilize resources for the in line with the UN 2030 Development Agenda, which calls for countries to promote a sustainable ecological balance by integrating nature and development. It is no more to speak about environment alone without blending environment with governance, rule of law, economic development, poverty reduction. It's one piece. It cannot be separated. The current biodiversity laws can only be reserved through concerted efforts by government, private sector, and civil society, and of course, the global community, in order to put measures that enhance nature's ability to provide critical ecosystem services. And in line with the Secretary General's strategy and roadmap for financing for the 2030 Agenda, UNDP in Eswatini also, through a number of ongoing initiatives, is committed to supporting the government in the Kingdom of Eswatini in developing innovative financing mechanisms that contribute towards the achievement of SDGs and the Sustainable Development Goals, and ensure our biodiversity is managed sustainably. We're also committed to invest in the needed technical and financial resources to support the country's access for further opportunity, whether in vertical funds or voluntary contributions. Finally, being relatively new to the country, I'm really impressed of the landscape here. for me as an Arab, I'm originally Palestinian who was born and raised between Syria and Jordan. For us in the Middle East, Lebanon is a place we call it the Switzerland of Arabs. People go to Lebanon just to enjoy the nature, hiking, everything you name it in the nature there. And when I came to Eswatini, all the route from Mbabane to Eswatini, I was looking, are these the mountains of Lebanon? It's amazing, honestly. And I would like to congratulate actually the ministry and the Honorable Minister for the support on resource mobilization to preserve and invest in this rich natural resource. Communities are an integral part to conserve biodiversity. And in that regard, we congratulate the ministry for establishing the Environmental Fund, which is a critical tool to help communities to go ahead. And also the small grants program that is coming, going to be another tool to help. So great efforts, many congratulations for that. And also through the current GEF 5 funded project, strengthening protected areas with ENTC, it's another effort that the government is putting towards increasing the landscape, increasing the protected areas, and offering ecotourism opportunities. For UNDP also, I would like to raise that is supporting currently the government in revising the National Development Contributions, the NDCs, under the global initiative that is launched by the administrator called Climate Promise. And we are committed to continue this support. We hope in the next COP, it was last year in Madrid, I don't know this year it's going to be where?
It's supposed to be Glasgow.
I hope it will happen. We don't know, it might be postponed. But we hope in that event we will be able to launch what Eswatini has achieved in the NDCs. As we move to restart the economy, and in the wake up of COVID outbreak, we need to use this moment to think about what we value. All of the world collectively slowed down, and we all have seen positive impact on the environment. I remain optimistic, and together we will manage biodiversity sustainably and reverse biodiversity degradation. Thank you so much. I thank you all.